Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakwadash. I want to say Shalom to Yakin Akwath out there, pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. This one's coming at you on November 27th of 2025. The day that people of the world, at least Americans and Canadians, they have a different day that they celebrate it, but are partaking in a genocide festival, all right, known as Thanksgiving. They just celebrate it on different days. Today is the day that Americans celebrate it, right? So today we're going to be talking about, the history of Thanksgiving just a little bit. This one's going to be a shorter one. I've talked about it just about every year. It's plain, it's simple. Why are you going to celebrate death? Okay, why are you going to celebrate death? As a matter of fact, I had a couple different lessons. All right, I think one was called Thanksgiving. Right here, Thanksgiving, a day of celebrating extreme violence. All right. There's another one, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, an annual celebration of Native genocide. Okay. And then why would you celebrate right here? Why would you celebrate the death of your brothers with a feast? Okay. So, in here, we'll probably be touching on a lot of the same scriptures. Let's see, Amos. Not too much, really. But we'll get some of these. Like, I'll leave this up so I can remember, because Amos 5:21 is a good scripture to get. But excuse me. But I went over here. All right, as usually I've done the past few years. I went and got certain articles from Native American communities. Did the history that way. But I wanted to test it with ChatGPT, and it pretty much blew the whistle on everything, as we're going to look into. So I said, this is good enough, right? This is good enough. And I mean, if you really want at the end, I can type and say, can you give me the sources for this? Well, where's the source? You're using ChatGPT. Where's the source? Well, it's pulling the information from somewhere. All right. So I can ask for the sources. But it's not really, I'm going to do it at the end, because I might want to ask it more questions, but we're going to jump into it right off the bat. Plain simple, you shouldn't be celebrating Thanksgiving. Okay. Shouldn't be celebrating it. Now, if you have, a family member that's trying to, have you go over and, just to see family, you can go over there to see family. It's different. And even if you're over there and they offer you a piece of turkey, you can eat it. All right. But you're not going over there and setting up and cooking turkey and doing all these different things and these little rituals, because that's really what they are, these rituals for this Thanksgiving holiday that's going on. And, you go over there to visit family. Sometimes that's the only part of the year you get to see family, all right, is on these wicked holidays that we don't celebrate. Okay, but you're not wicked if you're invited over, or if you go over because you want to see your uncle that you haven't seen in 15 years. You're not wicked for wanting to go and see your uncle, right? It's not like you're going over there purposely to, celebrate Thanksgiving. You're going over there to visit with the family, and they just so happen to be taking part in doing their little Thanksgiving. You don't have to do it, right? It's like the same thing, if someone sends you a Christmas present, we don't celebrate that shit. What are we going to throw it in the trash? No, we're still going to open it. You got to accept it with humility. Okay? It's not, you didn't ask for a gift. You didn't say, you know what I want for Christmas? No, they just sent you one anyway. I've had it happen. I said, don't send me anything. And I end up getting, almost every year, I end up getting sent something anyway. All right? I don't look at it and go, poof. I throw it in the trash. And then they say, how'd you like the gift? I don't know what it was. I threw it in the trash. No, that's ridiculous. All right? Look, this is doing to the best of our ability. Okay, and at the end of the day, the Most High knows your intentions. Okay, if you're going over there because you secretly, matter of fact, I'm going over to Lord willing, going over to my so-called aunt's house, because one of my aunts I haven't seen in 10 years. She was I wasn't gonna go, but she messaged me this morning and said, "I'm over here with so and so. I'd really like to see you. I haven't seen you in 10 years." And I put her off last time. And I was like, "Oh, let me go this time. I better go this time." So, after Sabbath, I'm gonna cook some food up real quick. Steaks, not no fucking turkey. Not that it would matter if I did. It would be a little weird to cook turkey on Thanksgiving, but I mean, if you're just doing it to do it, whatever, I guess. But it'd be a little weird. But no, because I definitely don't want to go over there and eat. First of all, there's a bunch of issues over there, and I know they're gonna have a bunch of unclean shit. So, but I much rather have stayed home and played some video games. But she wanted, messaged me out of the blue. I haven't seen you. All right, I'll try to make it over. But does that make me wicked? No. Right? The elders, Elder Manata Zatba, he's done videos en route going over there to visit with his family. And he's even said I might even have a plate. But it's not. Look, don't be over righteous. Let's go and get that scripture. Okay? Because at the end of the day, the Lord knows your intentions at the end of the day. Okay, Ecclesiastes 7:16, it says, "Be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise. Why shouldst thou destroy thyself?" Okay, so there's sometimes where, that's how these people of the world and your family, most of them at least, are, with a lot of us, all are in the world. Okay, and they don't come over just on random visits. Okay, my mom comes down for a random visit every once in a while. Sometimes, very rarely, my dad. But most of the time when people are, convening, Thanksgiving and Christmas, all right, two celebrations. Well, we don't celebrate any of these celebrations, but two celebrations of wickedness that people just so happen to get together for. They don't, you ever seen your uncle, your aunt, and your grandfather and your cousin and your brother all at the same place just randomly? There had to have been an event, all right, unless y'all live close together and you have like a cook-off or something. All right, a cook-off, but a cookout. That's about the only time. But a lot of times, some of the times, the only time people fly out or drive down is for those wicked holidays, which of course we're not having at our house. So a lot of time we end up getting invited over. All right, and thankfully I don't usually get invited over, which is good because I've told them, I say I'm not really with it. I didn't get invited over at all. It was just this aunt that I haven't seen in 10 years. She said, "You should come over." All right, sure. And she said, "The food will be ready." I said, "I don't know, we already ate. Sorry." I'm not eating over there. But yeah, man. So you can't be overrated. I'm not gonna see my uncles or cousins ever. All right. If that's what you want to do, you're not wicked for thinking like that, but you are being a little over righteous. Okay. So, but a lot of people think that, a lot of people go and have an over righteous mindset on that. Like if it's a holiday and someone invites you over, you must, flee and never go over there. No, you're allowed to go over there. All right. But, try not to. But if it's the only time you can see your family, it's the only time you can see your family. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. It's not like you're asking for presents. All right. If you go over there during the holiday, like Christmas, as they call it, the holidays, and they want you to dig under that tree, don't dig under that tree, right? Because that's essentially bowing down in worship to Nimrod. Okay, you shouldn't really. At the end of the day, you should make it known. Hey, I don't celebrate these things. I don't do none of that. I don't want no gifts. Don't do me none of that. All right. And if they invite you over or whatever, and you say, "Look, I don't want none of that. I'm just here to visit you guys." Right. And if you still end up getting a gift and you said no, then accept it with humility and move on. But don't be giving other people gifts. Okay. We don't do none of that. We can give people gifts all the time, and we have Hanukkah. We don't celebrate no Christmas, right? So again, it's not going overboard, but don't be slack with it either. All right, be mindful and use discernment. Okay, so don't. Anyway, I pretty much explained it as much as I can. If you go over there to visit with family, you don't go over there to celebrate. Okay, you don't do any of these things to celebrate. It's you go over there because someone said, "Hey, you should come and visit with a family," or you wanted to go see your uncle or someone, and that's it. Okay, you're not going over to celebrate, right? That's that. That's the end of it. Okay. So let's get so we got Ecclesiastes 7:16, or Ecclesiastes, I believe. Yeah, Ecclesiastes. But now we're gonna get into this chat here. So I said, does Thanksgiving really represent a peace treaty, or is the history more sinister than is let on? And it says, short version, the whole the peaceful feast of unity thing is mostly a feel-good myth. There you go. It's a feel-good myth. It makes people feel good. Okay. Thanksgiving, as it is popularly told, pilgrims and Wampanoag, I'm gonna try. How do you pronounce this?
You're looking at how to forgive American people 17th century, but today, Wampanoags.
Wampanoag. Okay, Wampanoag. Okay, so Wampanoag. So pilgrims and Wampanoag sitting down in harmony is a heavily sanitized version of a way messier situation. There you go. Because Esau always lies. All right, as we're gonna get in just a moment. Well, actually, now we're going to get in just a minute. The other one was about not trusting them. But it says, Thanksgiving, as it's popularly told, sanitized word. Here's the real backdrop. It says, it wasn't a peace treaty celebration. There was a peace agreement, was, in italics, was. There was a peace agreement between the Plymouth colonists and the Wampanoag, but the feast people talk about wasn't some official treaty signing moment. It was basically a harvest celebration that the Wampanoag showed up to after hearing gunfire. The pilgrims were shooting in celebration. It wasn't a planned kumbaya get-together. They were just concerned because they heard a bunch of shooting, right? And they probably thought it was their people getting gunned down. So they probably showed up to fight. It says, 2, the Wampanoag were dealing with catastrophic losses already. A few years before the pilgrims arrived, a plague, likely brought by earlier European contact, wiped out a huge chunk of the Wampanoag population. Their weakened position is a major reason their leader, Mosoya, made political alliances with the English at all. It wasn't a friendship, it was a survival strategy. They didn't have any choice. They already had low numbers because of the European disease that was brought. So they had to basically be like, if we don't join up with these guys, they're going to murder us and rape our women, right? So we have to. Not that they wanted to, they had to, okay? So it wasn't a peace treaty. Oh, you're so nice and we're so nice. Hey, we got to, because if we don't, we'll die. Okay, we'll die, and that's how it really happened. And I mean, again, that shows you with Gad, being Jake. That's that Jake subtlety, like Jacob did. Okay, being subtle to their brother Esau because they don't want to be killed, right? So it's like the story when Esau and Jacob met later in their life, and it talks about them being friends, and Esau cried. Well, really, Jacob was being using the guile and subtlety because he didn't want. He wanted to use that emotion, all right, to get, because Esau was crying all the damn time. Cried when his blessing was taken away, cried then, all right, cried when they met up again. So he knows that he's an emotional person. So really, he played off of that and really yiquabbed him. Yiquab is Hebrew for Jacob, right? Yiquabbed him to get himself out of a bad situation. That's really what these people did at the time, these Israelites, the Gadites. They yiquabbed. They said, look, hey, we should form an alliance, right? That'd be great, because they had to survive, because they know these guys were just going to wipe them out, right? But it says three relations fell apart fast after that. The peace didn't last. Colonial expansion, land theft, forced conversions, and violations of agreements led to King Philip's War about 50 years later, one of the deadliest conflicts in early American history. It devastated indigenous communities in New England. 4, later Thanksgivings had nothing to do with native harmony. The national holiday we celebrate now wasn't created to honor indigenous people or a treaty. Lincoln standardized it during the Civil War to boost morale and unity. Nothing to do with the Wampanoag or a historical alliance. So yeah, the modern story is mostly a soft, classroom-friendly rewrite. The real history has political tension, survival choices, epidemic loss, and eventual violence all woven through it. The peace feast is one tiny moment, and not the vibe people make it out to be. So the pilgrims feasted whilst the natives died. And it's going to say, it's not literally pilgrims parting while native people drop dead around them, but the timing isn't far off from that picture. Here's the real situation without the sugarcoating. It's just repeating everything. you can see right here, the Pilgrims' survival was literally made possible by Wampanoag suffering. The Pilgrims moved into areas the epidemic had emptied. They planted on land native families had died on. They found cleared fields, abandoned food stores, and settlements with no one left alive. They interpreted these tragedies as providence. What is providence? Okay, let's go and get what providence is. Okay, the protective care of God or of nature as a spiritual power. It was their destiny, right? It was their destiny. Oh, we've been blessed with this land of these dead people, right? So there you go. So why would you celebrate this? Why would you celebrate this? Would it make sense? Would it make any sense? And I'll probably try to reason with it. Sense that a native would celebrate something like that. It says, would it make any sense that a native would celebrate something like that? If we're talking honestly, no, it wouldn't make sense for a native person, especially from Wampanoag or neighboring nations, to celebrate what that day actually represent. The holiday is a myth is built on their loss. The picture we're taught harmony, mutual respect, everyone getting along, leaves out the plague that wiped out most of their people right before the Pilgrims arrived, and the waves of land loss and broken agreements that followed. And they're not talking about all the slaughter that went on, not just the plagues, but there was also slaughtering that was going on at the time, but they don't like to talk about that. The alliance wasn't friendship, it was survival. There you go. What came after was even worse. 50 years later, King Philip's War led to mass death, enslavement, executions, and the near destruction of several indigenous communities in the region. From that perspective, Thanksgiving isn't the beginning of friendship, it's the beginning of the end. Modern Native perspectives reflect that. Plenty of Native people today recognize that Thanksgiving as a national day of mourning. They see it as a reminder of survival, not celebration. So, there you go. So why would you celebrate the death of your brothers, as I titled one of my, right here? Why would you celebrate the death of your brothers with a feast? Okay, even if you're not Native, okay? And a lot of you so-called, you're calling yourselves Negroes or black. A lot of you are actually Native Americans, okay? A lot of you think that, oh, you know, those were the natives. A lot of you were there at that time. You think you're just black because that's what you've been told, but your spirit, you actually have a Gadite spirit. Mind you, it's not all about what you look. A lot of people that think they're so-called black folk are actually Native Americans. And the same thing with Native, because you got to realize we were all running together at that time. You had so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. We were all running together at that time, and, you know, getting with each other as well, all right? So you're going to have, you know, a so-called black man that got with a cute little Gadite woman, all right, and had a little brown baby, and then they kept going, and then the baby got a little less brown, and now they're just brown. They don't look like a so-called, you know, black person that's dark brown. Okay, they just look like regular brown, like Native American brown or so-called Mexican brown, right? Which is still varies in skin color, but you don't realize that you could potentially be a Gadite, right? And you're celebrating literally the death of your relatives, not just your brothers, but like close relatives, like you were in that, maybe perhaps even Wampanoag, right? And you could have been there through the reincarnation, all right? So, but you don't realize that. Why would you celebrate? And who the fuck likes turkey like that anyhow, right? You don't see anybody frying cooking a turkey any other part of the year. Right, that's literally what JD Vance said, and I thought that too. It's JD Vance. No one likes turkey. I mean, some people like turkey to an extent. I like turkey on like a sandwich or something like that. But you can see
what we celebrate tomorrow. That is a uniquely American thing. That's why, for example, we have turkey. Think about turkey. Who really likes? Be honest with yourselves. Who really likes turkey? You're all full of everybody who raised your hands. I know.
And mind you, they're pushing a narrative. They said he totally bombed, and everybody criticized and made fun of him in the lap. I don't know. It sounded like it was pretty receptive. Let's hear the laughs and chuckle again.
Thanksgiving, what we celebrate tomorrow.
He completely bombed. He didn't bomb. He killed it.
That's why, for example, we have turkey. Think about turkey. Who really likes? Be honest with yourselves. Who really likes turkey? You're all full of everybody who raised your hands.
You hear all that laughter? He didn't bomb. They liked it. I thought it was fucking funny. See, that's the one thing. You got the Republicans and the Democrats lying. The Republicans lie about the Democrats lie about the Republicans. The Democrats saying he bombed. Everybody hated it. Everybody loved it. Shut up. Shut up. Right? It's ridiculous. Y'all are just fucking children going at each other's necks. Both of
I
you.
know. Think about it. And here's how I know that every single one of you who raised your hand is lying to me. How many times do you roast an 18-pound turkey just randomly? Just, a nice summer afternoon, we're going to go get an 18-pound turkey. Nobody does it because turkey doesn't actually taste that good. Thanksgiving.
It's true. It doesn't actually taste that good. You see people. They're all mad. But no, it's true. How often do you see people going out and getting an 18-pound turkey and cooking it? You don't. You don't see it. I don't see people in fall. Well, we're in fall now, but earlier fall doing it. I don't see people in winter doing it. All right, or spring. All right, or summer. I don't know. It's only this time. Right? It's only this time. Okay. The only time I eat turkey throughout the year is as a lunch meat. I don't like it any other way. Right? So chicken's the better meat. But, that's besides the point. But it's funny. He had a point. He had a point. But so why are you going to celebrate the death of your brothers with a feast? And one that really, I've never been a fan of Thanksgiving food anyway. Yams are good. I like yams. But not a big fan of cranberry sauce. I don't like stuffing. I don't like turkey. What else do you usually have with it? I don't eat ham. All right. Matter of fact, back in the world, before I was in this truth, most of the time I'd just stick with the ham. And I don't even like ham. I didn't even like ham that much, but I preferred it over turkey. Right. So anyway, it's just get together, and I hated the whole thing. I hated it even in the world. I hated Thanksgiving. It was my least favorite holiday. I hated it. Never did like it. It's just what I'm thankful for. Nobody ever talks about what they're thankful for the rest of the year. Well, you have to have a fucking day to be thankful. You can't just be thankful every day. You can't be thankful that you woke up and praise Yahweh Shai that you woke up and you're in at least decent health. All right, you got a roof over your head. You can't be thankful for that. You got to have a dedicated day to be thankful. Stupid, man. Just like all these holidays, you have to have a dedicated day to love each other. Valentine's Day, have a dedicated day to actually do something for your wife. You can't just, I don't know, take her out randomly to a movie, take her out randomly to go get a dinner. You have to have a dedicated day that you. It's so disingenuous, and women love that fucking holiday. They love it. They say, "Oh, he did something for me." Yeah, congratulations, he did something on the annual "Do Some Shit for Me" day. All right, show me love on the Show Me Love Day. Oh wow, yeah, he's just following the fucking trend. All right, or oh wow, my birthday, they gave me a gift. You couldn't just someone couldn't just give you. This person isn't nice enough to you. Just give you a random gift. Sometimes I just give people random gifts. It don't have to be on a fucking day that to give someone a gift day that I have to give someone. Oh, because you told me, now I have to do it. No, I can just give a gift whenever I want. I don't know if you know this, guys, but you can give a gift whenever you want. You go to the store today, buy something, and give it to someone. Say, hey, I got you a gift. I saw this at the store, and I thought you'd like it. You can do that. Did you know that? Did you know you don't have to have an appointed day to do so? Stupid, man. These holidays are all dumb, and they're just buy shit. All right, on Valentine's Day, what do you do? Aside from the wickedness, which is, you really can't put that aside because that's the main reason we don't celebrate any of the shit, because it's evil, it's wicked, it's not the Lord's holiday, so why would we celebrate it? The Lord didn't ordain it, okay? And they're all rooted in pagan customs anyway, okay? Almost all of them. I bet if you look deep enough, you'd find some pagan custom hidden in Thanksgiving. Matter of fact, I'm going to ask, is there any slight hint or trace even of pagan roots for this holiday? Yeah, look at that. Boom, look at that. It says, yeah, there are some threads you can tug on, but nothing that connects Thanksgiving to a direct ancient pagan holiday. Say, like the same way Christmas or Easter are tied to older festivals. It's more like Thanksgiving sits on a top of a pile of older harvest festival traditions that humanity has been doing forever. Harvest festivals in the ancient world, long before the pilgrims and many cultures had late autumn celebration, giving thanks to the harvest. Not, mind you, not giving thanks to Yahweh Shai, to the harvest, for the land, right? Europe, Lammas, harvest home, Michaelmas, Norse and Germanic blot or blot feasts, Celtic Samhain and harvest elements. That's like same thing going on with Halloween, right? Roman, Sorelia. What else do we got for Sarah's? What is Sorelia? What in the world? Right? It says mid late April, but it was Harvest Festival. So you can see Roman religion. It was celebrated for grain goddess Ceres. Which ones? Let me go ask. Which ones were held in November? Samhain, ancestor of Halloween. Right here. Blotfests, feasts, late October and November. Winter nights, mid-October, or November sacrifice and feasts that were tied to the onset of winter. There you go. Slavic Dziady or Forefathers Day. You see it. Offerings of food, shared meals, and end of season rituals. That sounds very interesting. Let's see. Slavic folklore, spirits and ancestors, and a collection of pre-Christian rites dedicated to them. Now, there's lots of, different things that it probably stems from a mix, because that's how most holidays are now. They're a little mix of something Greek, a little bit mix of something Roman, and they added a new flavor on top of it, right? That's how they usually do. But you can go and see which one fits Thanksgiving the closest. St. Martin's Day. All right, St. Martin's Day. Slaughtering livestock for winter stores, big family communion feast, preparing for the cold season, bringing the last crop. Now, it was celebrated in England, so the Pilgrims knew it. Even Puritans rejected Catholic ritual. So it's rooted in Christianity, which, again, goes back to false religion. So they shouldn't be doing that either. I knew there was something there. All right, knew there was something there. Just had to dig and dive a little bit. So it's not something you should be celebrating. Okay, but they say, oh, it's not anything bad. It's not anything about death. It's none of that. It's just, we're thankful for each other. We're all just thankful, and that's what we do. We're just thankful. Well, Ecclesiasticus 12:10, it says, never trust thine, slack you for the dog in the back, but it says, Ecclesiasticus 12:10, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So when something rusts, do you ever see it reverting and getting better? You see it like, oh, look, the rust is getting better. It's going away. No, it just gets worse and worse and worse. Okay? So that's how this devil is. All right? That's why you should never trust them, because their ways are always wicked, man. They're always wicked. Okay? You're never to trust. If you walked by me on the street every day and I slapped you in the face on the 785th day, why should I expect you to trust me after every other day? Trust you that, oh, I'm not going to do it anymore. I've stopped. I've changed. Why should I ever trust you? Right? That you're not going to slap me again. There might even be a week where I walk by and you don't slap me, but I'm still expecting you to slap me at any given time. Right? And if you don't have that conscious thought, then you just must be dumb. Right? You just must be dumb. Okay? So you can't trust this devil, man. It's a holiday that's rooted in wickedness. Now I wanted to go ahead and get Amos 5:21. So it says, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Okay? So you're not supposed to be celebrating these wicked holidays? As a matter of fact, ChatGPT should even be able to break that down. Let's go back. How would the Lord feel about people celebrating this? It'll probably beat around the bush. There we go. There we go. That's what they say. That's what they say. It says if you're looking at a straight biblical perspective, it says not American tradition. Bear with me. Not American tradition, not nostalgia, just how the Lord tends to deal with man-made festivals. The pattern in Scripture is pretty consistent. He doesn't condemn every gathering or a meal, but he does have a problem when people create their own holy days and attach spiritual meaning to them without his command. And you've essentially done that. Okay, it tries to filibuster on number 2, but it says he rejects man-made feast days when they claim to honor him. Anytime Israel made feasts, fasts, or days of gladness that weren't commanded, especially with outside customs, the Lord shut it down, right? So Jeroboam inventing his own feast day, 1 Kings 12 and 32, 33, the Lord called it a sin. Israel adopting seasonal customs from surrounding people, repeatedly condemned. Thanksgiving isn't a biblical feast, and it isn't commanded, but it's not also claiming to replace or override one of us. No, you just cut yourself. You just cut yourself. All right. If it's not tied to the Lord, not supposed to be doing it. Okay. You're not supposed to be doing it. And I mean, making a holiday out of nothing. Okay. That holidays are holidays specifically for a reason. Okay. They're not for you to make. They're the Lord to set up which days are special. Right. So Amos 5 and 21 again, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. There you go. Even if you tried to make some random one for the Lord, then you were going about it all wrong. Amos 5 and 22. Though you, like that guy tried to turn Thanksgiving into Yahushua Day. You're just Thanksgiving. You've just called it a different name, and you've tried to say, oh, we're doing it for the Lord. No, you're not. It says, though you offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them. Neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. So he despises them. He's not with them. He's not with them. Okay? How long have we been going? 32 minutes. But he's not with them, man. So you shouldn't be celebrating it. Okay? Let's get is there anything else from here I want to touch on? No, I mean, there's more I could get, of course. I mean, it was a lesson, so obviously there was some good stuff in there. But let's get did we get I accidentally closed out of it. This is Job 13 and 4. It says, but ye are forgers of lies, you're all physicians of no value. These Edomites are physicians of no value, right? And they're forgers of lies. So 1, they can't heal you, all right? Or 1, they're liars, and 2, they can't heal you. But they'll lie about being able to heal you as well. All right, that's what you can take away as well from this. This is like a double whammy. It shows you that they're liars and also that they're not good medical practitioners. They suck at it, okay? But yeah, man, they're forgers of lies. If you forge something, that means you make something. You create something. They create lies. And one of the lies they create is, oh, it's just an innocent little holiday where we gather and, we had a peace treaty and we were nice. And you see all these pictures. They show you, and they start you young in school, and they show you all the pictures of the pilgrims sitting down with these happy Native Americans, right? And it's bullshit. It's bullshit, man. And there's actually, I'll see if I can find it. What did I do? It was what is the Spanish word of? It was like it was like I can't remember how it was, but you know, when Christopher Columbus came originally, he was Spanish. You know what? You can go and look up what nationality, what nation. Well, is it Italian? Italian. It says there's may have had Spanish or Portuguese or yeah, so Spanish. He was Spanish in Italy. Italy is fun because they were still speaking Latin in Italy, and basically people get offended by the term Indian. But if you've noticed, if you look at the older Native Americans, now I'll say natives, all right. But if you look at the older Native or Indian, I say natives because it's easier to not confuse, you know, North American Indian with the people over there, the Asiatic Indians, which are really just the how are you doing today, sir? Right? No, they're completely different people. So, I was reading about it. A brother posted something about it, and I don't remember if I saved it or not, but it was basically dealing with the word. They said, oh, they call them Indians, and it was a lie. That was a lie that they said, oh, they called them Indians because they thought they were an Indian. No, they knew they were going to the Americas, all right, because Christopher Columbus subscribed to the idea that as a lot of Europeans did at the time, that there were lost tribes of Israel, okay? 12 tribes, as the Bible said, and they knew this, and they were going and trying to find them and contact these lost tribes, and he had a theory that one of these lost tribes happened to be dwelling and residing within the Americas, and he was correct, all right? The two Gadites and Issacharites, all right, to the Aztecs. And he went there. So that's also, mind you, why he brought a Hebrew translator. You can go and look that up. He brought a Hebrew translator because he knew he was going to contact Hebrews. And if you look into it, ancient Native American dialect, or, you know, even not ancient, but, you know, semi-modern, dealing with, you know, couple, you know, generations back ago, they found out that Native American language is of Hebrew dialect or Hebrew origin. It has Hebrew remnants within it. Okay, showing you that they are Israelites, mind you, by the way. And then on top of that, you know, they even found Hebrew writing in lots of South America, showing you a lot of the Southern Americans, the South American people, all right, Latinos are Israelites as well. All right, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. We are the Israelites, all right, that the Bible speaks of. But he went over there, and he didn't call them Indians. He didn't say Indians, okay? He said something, I think it was Indios or something like that, or Undios or something, or like Undio or something like that. But it basically means a god or of God. All right, is basically when it basically meant, for if I remember right, it basically meant like people of God. All right, Christopher Columbus. Yeah. Here it is. The idea, they said it's a popular myth and it's been disproven. It's bullshit. The idea that Columbus called the natives Indians because of una gente en Dios, all right, en Dios, a people in God. All right, so it's a popular myth that has been disproven by scholars. The term is a result of Columbus' mistaken belief that they had reached the West Indies. It's bullshit. All right, the myth claims Indian came from the phrase like una gente en Dios, or los niños en Dios, all right, children in God. That's what I think, it was los niños en Dios, all right, which is children in God, suggesting Columbus was struck by the people's piety, or piety. It says in reality, Columbus believed he was near India and wrote in his journals using the term Insulas Indi, or Indian Islands, as stated in 1493 letter to King Ferdinand. That's, you know, and they can change a bunch of stuff. All right, but no, that's a lie. All right, again, Job 13:4. But ye are forgers of lies; ye are all physicians of no value. So we can go on. Did Christopher Columbus believe there were lost Israelites in America? And it should say yes. Yes, Christopher Columbus believed he would encounter descendants of the lost tribes of Israel in the lands he explored, and was disappointed to find that the people he met were not who he expected. Bullshit. Bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's a bunch of lies. And that's why he did call them, una gente en Dios, a people of God, all right? A people in God, all right? Or a people in Yahweh, all right? And there was even people, all right, of that time, all right? As a matter of fact, I have in one of my books, biblical information. No, it's Israelite history. Where is it? The history of the American Indians. Right. This is an old book. Okay, and this was brought to my attention by a brother. I can't remember the name of the brother, Salakia, but it was through YouTube that I found it. This book was when was it made? Does it say? It's old. You can tell it's old. Let me see if I can find it. Right here. It says, you can tell it's old because how the S was written, right? Check this out. It says, I shall hereafter under another argument show that the Indians virtuously transpose, shorten, and lengthen each symbol of the great divine name. Now they say Yohiwa. Okay, in a very extraordinary manner when they are singing and dancing to and before the divine essence, and they commonly derive such words as convey a virtuous idea from the compound them with the divine essential name. It says, I shall now show a further parity between the Hebrew language and the Aboriginal American dialect. Why is there such a similarity, all right, between the Hebrew language and they say Aboriginal American dialect, right? Why is that? Now, you want to know my theory? Now, they're saying Yohiwa, okay? If you ever listen to how the Native American chant, now this is just my theory, okay? Now, by the way, he probably, they say the great divine name Yohiwa. First of all, the natives were already going off at that time. So what my theory is, this is my theory, that they weren't saying Yohiwa, but they were being incorrectly heard. Now, we know that if you incorrectly translate the father's name, going to get Exodus 3 and 14. All right, and you go, this is the Hebrew, and you go to I am, you'll see, and we can go and get the full. Well, actually, it's easier if we go. Because that's how you break it down. You have that, and there's another scripture that says praise him by his name Jah, but it's actually should be Yah, but it's part of the name Yah, and then you get the other one, it's Yahweh, all right, Yahweh. But we want the full name here so we can get it. That's just how you show it being, not, I don't want to say broken down, but it comes from two parts that makes up this word right here. Now they say Jehovah. Now we know that it should be Yahweh because there was no V's in ancient Hebrew. And you can see that it does actually come from this part of this word, Hawa, all right? So, but if you get this in the Paleo-Hebrew, all right, if you go to Paleo-Hebrew alphabet, now this is my theory of what was being said, okay? Now, they are probably not pronouncing it. Now, if you ever hear them go, hey, right? Now, they could be saying Hawa, right? But if you hear them, they go, yeah, right? So what I'm thinking, right, if you ever hear them chant, that's what they say. And what I'm thinking, this is my theory, I know we know it's not a theory that because you even read it here, they were using some derivative or incorrect translation of the name Yahweh, okay? So you can see right here on a descent of American Indians from the Jews. That's what this part's titled. So they know, and this was written by an Edomite. So they say Yohiwa. Now they could have been going off and saying Yohiwa. They might have lost parts of the name, and the Lord could have took his name from them at this time. But what I was thinking is when you break down, if you do it incorrectly, all right, you can see Yah. Okay, we're gonna go and do the name here. So it'd be Yah. This part right here is Yah. You can see it, Yah. All right. Well, where are we? Yah, right here. It's like I'm doing an ancient. Yah, right here. Okay, see that? So Yah, Ha. Okay, Ha, Yah, Ha. All right. This is Wa. Okay, Wa. So you have Yah, Ha, Wa. Okay, but you also have Ha again. Okay, Yahweh, which is not the correct pronunciation. It's Yahweh. But if you hear the rhythm, okay, again, this is just a theory. You can throw this away. But this is just a theory that I've thought they're incorrectly, if they've lost it and incorrectly are breaking it down in the Hebrew, as it's said that they could speak and potentially maybe even write in a little bit, think about the vowels. Yahweh, Yahweh, right? And it sounds like, if you ever heard them chant, kind of sounds like that. That's my theory, that they could be saying Yahweh, all right? And, I mean, if you hear that word Yahweh, it even sounds how Native American language speaks, okay? And that's because Native American is formulated on Hebrew, okay? But it says right here, it says, I shall now show a further parity between the Hebrew language and the Aboriginal American dialects. So there you go. And it goes to compare, dialects between the ancient Native American language, all right, and the, ancient Hebrew, okay? But that's besides the point. I mean, it's kind of the point because we're talking about the Native Americans, right? So yeah, they lie. Then they say, oh, Indian comes from, they thought that he was an Indian. He never thought he was in the Indies. They already knew the landmass America. They knew they went there. All right. All the other things that they add is bullshit. All right. And they knew that they would go there expecting someone from a lost tribe of Israel. That's why they brought the Hebrew translator. The Native Americans spoke a dialect that was very similar to Hebrew. And on top of that, he called them Indios. Right? Not Indians. It's like how the original word that became a slur, all right, if you go and look up what the word black in Hebrew is, it's Neger, black in Hebrew. Okay? Or dark, I think it means dark. Where is it? Let me go and find it. Strong's Neger. Yeah, it comes from, I know it's scripture. I can get it. Acts 13:1, you can see it right here. It says, now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger, not Niger. All right, they changed that as well. They tried to get it differentiating, right? And Lucius of Cyrene and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch and Saul. So now if you go to look at this word Niger, that's how it's pronounced, all right? Oops. Click the wrong button. Okay. Pronunciation.
Strong's G 3526. Niger.
All right. Niger. All right. Which means black. Okay. Niger means black. All right. It was also the surname of the prophet Simeon. They say a Christian. No, well, it doesn't mean a Christian. It means black. Okay. It means black. Really, it means dark skinned. All right, but they translate it as black. All right, but Niger, okay? Now, you have the Edomites that changed that name later, all right, to what they changed it to, all right? But their original pronunciation was Niger, Okay, Niger. But we know that Edomites are dumb as shit, so they lose pronunciations of things. So here it is. You had, and Christopher Columbus was more than likely, well educated, at least to an extent. A lot of the people, explorers like that were, more intelligent, but the Edomites that came later were a little bit more dumb. Okay, American Edomites American Edomites are so much more intellectually declined, right, or intellectually challenged than that of European Edomites. European Edomites are actually smarter. Okay, the ones in America, everyone's dumb in America. The Jake in America are dumber. All right, the heathens in America are dumber. All right, everyone in America is dumber because America is just a fucking landmass of idiots. Okay, is really what it is. Not saying that there's not smart people here, but more people here are dumb. America's known for being dumb. Okay, but here it is. He was calling them un dios. And then, later on, you have people, oh, yeah, those Indios, or Indians, or whatever you call them, right? It's the same thing how they used Niger, and it later became the slur as we know it today. Okay, there's a lot of words that were once something and kind of became a different word because of mispronunciation. We can actually go to ChatGPT. What's some words that were once pronounced different correctly, but are now pronounced wrong over years of tradition? Yeah, Kanite. All right. Or Knick. All right, night. Now it's just night. Okay, daughter. It used to be doctor. All right, but now it's just daughter. Through. It used to have a harsh GH again, like through. All right, but not anymore. Laugh used to be lach with a throat sound at the end. Now it's laugh. Originally pronounced the way it's spelled, sword. Sword, not sword, sword. Okay. Coronel came from the word now it's pronounced colonel, which makes zero visual sense. Often. Now most people say often, right? The T basically died. Wednesday used to be clearly enunciated Wednesday. Now it's Wednesday. Used to be pronounced February. Now it's February. Okay. Used to be pronounced hyperbole. Now it's hyperbole. Okay. There's a lot of different words that have changed over the times. Incorrectly, mind you. Okay. That's not the original way. So Niger, all right, became, all right. We all know it. So, and then there's other words. Okay. But they say, oh, it actually stems from the word niggardly. All right. Which would be a stingy and ungenerous person. Well, niggardly is a completely different word. All right. And it has no relation to the slur, right? That's why I'll say niggardly, because they can't take your video down because you say niggardly, or if someone's behaving as a niggard, all right, there's another word, all right? Again, no relation to the slur. Watch. See how when I type in niggardly it comes up, or if I type in niggard it comes up? Now, look at this. Nothing comes up when I type that in, all right? What the fuck? I didn't even know there was a dinosaur called that. That's hilarious. But yeah, nothing comes up because it's a slur, okay? But niggardly comes up, niggle, niggard, okay? Because they're not related to that original word. Because the original word that the slur stems from, it doesn't mean stingy and generous. It means a dark-skinned person, okay? So, again, all those words change. It's like the same thing with this, all right? They say, oh, no, it's a myth. No, the word used to be una gente en Dios, a people in God, a people in power, all right, people in Lord. He used the term, los indios to refer to indigenous people believing they were from Asia. Sure. Misconception. Una gente en Dios, or los niños en Dios, all right, children of either people in God or children in God, okay, is what it went back to. So that's that, man. And we'll close out with Obadiah 1 and 10. And Numbers 35 and 33. Okay, this is where we're going to close out. Obadiah 1:10. Here you go, because this is you, Esau. You wanted to slaughter your brother. You wanted to slaughter, our people, right? So Obadiah 1:10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. You're going to have to go into captivity, just like you put us into captivity. I'll prove that real quick. Isaiah 14:2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. Well, we got to get to verse 1 to show you that's dealing with Israel and Jacob specifically. Isaiah 14:1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them. If you go and get this word stranger, it means a foreigner of Israel. So someone who's not of Israel, right? Or it could be referred to as sojourner in Israel, right? So it shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord, Israel, for servants and handmaids. Look up the word servant and handmaid. All right, a servant is a slave, a handmaid is a female servant, a female slave. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. There you go. And another one is, to show you. This is Job 9:24. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So whoever's in rulership right now is the wicked. It says, he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So whoever is ruling right now in the grand scale, which is European powers, are the Edomites. Matter of fact, I literally just had ChatGPT break it down because I got it to do it again, because I made a whole thing. I'm not going to necessarily show how to do it because I don't want them to patch it. I'd love to share. If a brother wants to know how to get ChatGPT back to normal, just message me, and I'll try to contact you that way. All right, we'll find out a way to do it, but I don't want to show a video of it because they'll patch it. All right, I wrote a whole script, basically a script for it to run of, not bullshitting and pulling, and just pull. I have it pulling from like 3 or 4 sources. I uploaded 1611. I uploaded Zondervan's Bible Dictionary, and one book that biblical related book that I'm trying to figure more out about. So for now, all right, but I'm gonna upload more stuff so it can have more source materials to feed from. But I basically pull from these instead of outside sources. So I'm having it just pull from the Bible, because it'll say, "Oh, I'm gonna pull from," no, and it won't. There's a way, and if you brothers want to know, I can you can contact me somehow. All right, we'll figure out a way. But yeah. But Job 9:24, it says the earth is given in the hand of the wicked. So if that's the case, let me finish up. It says he covereth the faces of the judges thereof, if not, where and who is he? And that's the thing, he covers the faces of the judges, all right, who, mind you, did not look like them and are not them, mind you. So and the Lord called them the border of wickedness. Border of wickedness. So it shows you they're the border of wickedness. The earth is given in the hand of the wicked. So the wicked is the Edomites. Okay. You see right here, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord had indignation forever. So they are the wicked. People can be wicked. There are wicked people, but they are the wicked. They have the title of the wicked, right? So, and you can see if they're in rulership, and who's going to be taken out, all right? 2nd Esdras 6:9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So that means whoever's in rulership right now is Esau, and they're going to be in power at the end of the world. They're going to be taken out, and Jacob's going to be the beginning of it that followeth. And then you look in the curses in Deuteronomy, and you find out that Jacob fits who? So-called Negroes, Latino, and Native American. Nobody else. Nobody else fits the curses, okay? So, and this is what's going to happen to you, E. Numbers 35 and 33, it says, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. And you kill a lot of people. You killed so many natives, all right, that the land actually cooled. The earth cooled by a couple degrees. You can look that up. That's your homework. It says, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So your blood's got to be shed, Esau. Not our rule. That's Yahweh Shem Shai's rule. So, and we're not going to be the ones shedding it. It's going to be the Lord. He's going to make sure that blood gets spilt, not us. So that's a lesson. Why would you celebrate it? All right. I don't know what I'm going to call this lesson. Something related to Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving, but Why would you celebrate it? Why would you celebrate the death of your brothers with a feast? All right. Why would you celebrate an annual celebration of genocide? Doesn't make any sense. So that's where we're going to close out. Lord, what was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak. I want to say shalom, brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing, shalom.